Good morning, everyone. It seems so long since we've been together. Actually, it's been less than a year, but what a year, right? Many of us have been on a pretty crazy roller coaster ride, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. When we spoke to you last, we were only a few months into the pandemic and we were tightly shut down and locked in. We were still in the stage where we were searching for the positive side. We shared with you our decisions to rest more and watch the birds, exercise, and take long walks and talks together. Well, all that isn't it wonderful stuff didn't last forever, did it? We have dealt with some pretty low points since then. We've experienced a lot of loss. Personally, Kurtland and I haven't had close friends or family who died of COVID, but we have had loved ones die. And the hard part was not being able to be with them as they went through that process. Then, not being able to gather to celebrate their lives and grieve together made it even worse. Some of us have lost our way of making a living, and with it, financial security. Others can't participate in some of our usual type of exercise. We yearn to meet with friends at our favorite restaurants. More important, we lost face-to-face contact with family and friends, groups, and churches. We have become isolated. And what I've discovered is that isolation, for me, feeds on itself. I find myself reluctant to pick up the phone for what I know will be a long conversation with one of my sisters or a friend far away. My love for them hasn't changed one iota, but my energy to reach out sure has. But the thing that has contributed most to my low points is the loss of my feeling of purpose. My main way of being in the world has always meant being close to people. My volunteering, socializing, counseling, and being of service all require me to be up close and personal. In this isolation, I have felt as if I had no real life. Kurtland was feeling at loose ends too. We have had some very serious conversations about whether life is still worthwhile under these new circumstances. We came to the conclusion that we need to make it worthwhile. We need to discover a new purpose. What we've realized is that when our world changes this drastically, our lives change too. And the meaning and purpose of our lives must also change. So it's up to us to create a new sense of purpose. It's not enough just to realize what changes we want to make. We're discovering that to do that, we just can't wish upon a star, as the song says. We must understand how wishes work. We are learning how to set clear intentions.
Well, good morning, community UUers and honored guests. I'm excited about new possibilities. From the ashes of COVID-19 will rise new beginnings. Seems like we are faced with breaking down or breaking through. When Gaia and I were faced with life challenges, we often chose to break through with the power of intention. For instance, when I was 50, my whole life got rebooted. My wife of 23 years died. She had been disabled by MS, and I had been her full-time caregiver for 15 years, holding down 2 jobs. When I met Gaia a while later, we were so ready to move on, to find a new job, new locations. We were attending a Science of Mind church at the time, and the minister helped me find an intention, what that church calls a treatment. My intention was to find the perfect job for my unique talents and passions. My first interview was just incredible. It was a school just right. It was small, but not too small, in a town, small, but not too big, close to a metropolitan area. And I thought, oh, great, it's happening. And I didn't get the job. Second interview, the exact same thing happened. I didn't get the job, even when my wife and her friend dyed my hair so I wouldn't see any gray. It still didn't happen. Well, I was pretty discouraged and a little angry, and I went back to the minister and says, "What's up?" And he said something like, "What part of letting go don't you understand?" Uh, he says, "The creative universe, you've said you want the perfect job for your talents and passion. Well, obviously, those two opportunities didn't fit the bill. So you have got to let the creative universe take care of the details." So I got it. The next interview was in an elementary school. I've never worked in elementary. Had a good interview, but it was obvious that they wanted somebody with elementary experience. So as I was leaving, one of the interviewers came up to me and said, "You know, you're a guy who seems to think out of the box. And we have an opening in an alternative high school for a counselor. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yes." Got an interview the next day, and that was for 9 years, the rest of my education career, it was the best ever. It truly matched my passion and my abilities. Now, a lot can go wrong with intentions. Remember the old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? What I forgot was that huge part, maybe even the most important part, is sending my intentions out into the universe and letting them go. Everything in our lives start with intention. Not all intentions are conscious, nor do they all bring happiness. But that's a whole other talk. Today, our plan is to explore intention as a path to align our life purpose, our authentic self, with the cosmic intelligence. When we are able to align our intention with this larger intelligence, magic can happen. Here are some ideas about bringing more magic into our lives.
I want to start with gratitude. If I can't see what is good in my life, I feel desperate. And desperation is not a good place from which to set new intentions. Feeling grateful opens my heart to present life and future possibility. To truly get into a state of gratitude, I want to pay attention to how I feel as I say aloud the things for which I am grateful. The word appreciation means to increase in value. So when I concentrate on the good feelings I get from practicing gratitude, those positive feelings will increase, and so will the good things in my life. Maya Angelou says, "Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it." But there's another, even more unusual aspect of the power of gratitude when I'm setting intentions. I give thanks for that which I deeply desire, as if I already have it, because on some level, I already do. As I give thanks, I call it to myself. My energy reaches out and touches the energy of all that I have and all that I want in my life. For example, I could say, I give thanks that I continually co-create clear and deep purpose in my life.
A second step for magic to happen is to have a handle on knowing my unique talents and purpose. All entities have purpose and unique talents. Now, the non human population instinctively know who they are and how to serve the larger community. It's only humans who have lost this ability to know themselves. What do I stand for? What fires me up? What can I talk about for hours at end? That gives us a clue who we are and what our purpose might be. And deciding what I stand for helps me set an intention to express my purpose because it helps me answer the call to what the world needs from me. Deciding what I stand for is the first step in being the change I want to see in the world. If you are not sure what you stand for, here's an activity that might help. Choose a person you have a great deal of respect for, dead or alive. Now list 5 characteristics of this person you admire. What you admire in others is who you are at a deeper level. 2 people I admire greatly are Rachel Carson and John Muir, both environmentalists. They were talented teachers who communicated well in both writing and speaking. They were serious and enthusiastic scientists. They held all beings in love and respect, especially non-humans. And here is what I stand for. I am a scientist of ecology and an eco-psychologist. I believe that embracing our interdependence is essential to our sanity. I am an ever curious teacher and student, not a bad storyteller, and sometimes a pretty good writer with the help of Gaia. Gaia would like to share now some hints for creating intentions that work.
One of our intentions is to bring the outdoors in. And I'm just noticing that a little creature has crawled in and is coming closer as we sit and wait.
Okay.
So,
It's just a black racer, no big deal.
Once I am in a state of gratitude and I know what I stand for, it's time to declare my intention. How do I say it like I mean it so that it really works for me? I want to make sure that my statement is positive. I want to focus on what I want instead of what I don't want. I avoid the words can't, don't, and not. Instead of I don't have any debt, I would say I am financially secure enough to live a comfortable and fulfilled life. I state everything as if it is true right now. For example, I easily maintain my healthy body weight. I avoid the word try because if I'm trying, I am not doing.
Mhm.
For my intention to really work, it has to be believable to my own mind. If it's too hard to say, I have enough time to rest, I can at least say, I am willing to have enough time, or I am learning to have enough. If my intention statement brings up those nasty little voices in my head that say, yeah, right, if you have enough time to rest, why are you dragging around all the time? That's a hint that I need to look at my statement again and find words that all my little inner demons accept so that they can rest and be quiet and let the universe do its work. I keep working on my intention until I get the feeling of it, that's it. I want to know how I would feel if it were happening right now. The phrase, I can travel whenever or wherever I want, is different from, I see myself snorkeling in the clear blue waters and seeing exotic sea life. I want to stay in integrity with others and with the universe when I come up with my intentions. To remember that, I try to add something like, if it is in the highest interests of all involved, to the beginning of my intention. Last, but definitely not least, I want to use words that are truly, truly mine. They make sense to me so that they're easy to remember. The words sound just right when I say them out loud. Intentions can have different flavors too. They can be short and sweet, pithy, energetic, or even humorous. My intention is to come out of this meeting smelling like a rose. There are also a lot of different levels of intentions and many areas to look for where I might need clear intentions. My relationships, my physical body, spiritual health, physical surroundings, my home, mental and emotional state, my creativity, financial needs, and last but certainly not least, my play life. Sometimes I have a simple intention to complete an immediate task, or have a necessary conversation, or even find a lost item. I remember this one when I was working on shoring up my boundaries. My intention is to have a loving, supportive, and realistic conversation with my mother about how much time I can spend with her. I wasn't sure the creature wasn't with me. I remember one day, one I use a lot these days is, Dear Universe, I would like very much to find my phone, keys, electric bill. I know it is here. I relax and let go. Is that really an intention? I think so. I'm asking the universe for what I need and want. I admit that I usually waste a lot of time frantically looking all over the place before I sit and relax and put out the intention and just wait. I usually get a sense or picture of the right place to look right away. If not, if I stay calm and let it go, I almost always stumble across it later in the day. There are intentions to change a habit or deal with a medical challenge or take on a project. We intend to remodel our lanai in a way that fits our budget and our desires to use it more and bring the outdoors in. And we intend to complete this project while not getting a divorce and not having any more creatures in my living room. Then there are the big intentions. On this level, we co-create our life purpose. My intention is to learn and teach ways we can all connect to nature on a deep level in order to restore our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Finally, there are global or even cosmic intentions. These are also life purposes, but on an even higher level. My intention is to return the environment to health for all beings to thrive. Now, this kind of intention may seem grandiose or naive or just plain nuts. I never have any idea how I will achieve them. So I have to remind myself that our brains are designed to solve problems. When we hand our brain a big problem, such as, I want to make sure that every child is safe and cared for, our brains get to work making connections and letting the universe know our sincere desire. This is the foundation of manifestation. When my brain needs to solve a big problem, I can turn to the universe, God, Spirit, Tao, whatever I call it, for guidance and direction. I look and listen for patterns in my life and signs that I am on the right path and that things are falling into place. My focused intentions set the infinite organizing power of the universe in motion. I'm learning to trust that power to orchestrate the complete fulfillment of my desires. I am learning not to listen to the voice that says that I have to be in charge. The outcome that I try to force may not be as good for me as the one that comes naturally. So I release my intentions like seeds into the fertile ground of pure potential, and they will bloom when the season is right.
I would like to spend a few minutes now talking about the help that we have inside of us. So this is entitled Naming and Greeting Our Inner Partner. Remember that intention is a path to align our life purpose with our authentic self, with the cosmic intelligence. Now, we don't have to do this alone. We each have a personal guide that connects us to this cosmic intelligence. The purpose of this guide is to help us discover our unique talents and place those talents in service of our evolving universe. Now, our personal guide does this magic in two ways. The first, it teaches us through our nighttime dreams by creating dramas that speak in symbols and metaphor. First of all, what happens is when we get off our mark, when we go down a path that's not healthy for us, the dream maker will create a situation where it taps us on the shoulder, where it gives us a sign to move back to our mark, to where we should be. And it nudges, and then if we don't get it, then it pushes, then it may hit us, and then it may scare us to death with a nightmare or recurring nightmares until we get the message. So that's one way. The other way is uh, it it shows us what we are attracting in our awake life. If we are attracting dramas that seem to repeat itself, we say, why on earth is this happening to me again? You might want to take a look and say, what is the message to move in a different direction? So when I have an experience that causes me these strong feelings, I should pay attention and try to get the message. Now, to improve the communication, I suggest with the personal guide, I suggest we acknowledge our guides by giving them names that have personal significance to us. Now, there are many possibilities: grandmother, grandfather, inner coach, senior partner, God, dream maker, Sam, the matrix, the force. Native Americans, I think, used power animals. And what speaks to me is the wolf. The wolf to the Native American is the teacher. So that's the one that speaks to me. Using this name of honor, I ask for help. I believe that these mysterious forces are able to assist us. They are not able to assist us until we ask them respectfully. Now, here are some examples of my respectful intentions. And I've also added what Gaia was talking about with feelings. I've added the feeling that I would get when the intention is fulfilled. Namaste, teacher. With your help, I intend to publish articles and books that I have written in order to help evolve the planet. I feel ecstatic that my stories might have a better chance of being heard to honor the many beings, human and non human, who were so crucial to the lessons learned on my path. Good morning, teacher. I thank you for your guidance and help as I speak my intention to co create and teach the perfect covenant of right relations for all beings. I experience oneness and ecstasy as my passion flows freely. I thank you, Wolf, as we co create a scuba journey with my nephew in Cancun, Mexico in the fall of 2021. I experience wonder and joy being with my nephew and the wonderland of sea and fish. In closing, I would like to share another example of the power and magic of intention. In 1990, I took a job, as was explained earlier, in an alternative high school. I began to introduce these magnificent misfits to nature, and it was working beyond my wildest dreams. The problem for me was many of these activities were extremely demanding physically. I was acting like a 17-year-old in a 50-plus-year-old body. In 1992, I severed my shoulder playing basketball. Next year, when I severed my Achilles tendon while participating in an adventure course, I realized that I needed to pay attention. I was a student of Native American culture and was aware that when we start to see snow on our rooftops, otherwise known as gray hair, it is time to move on from adult to wise elder. So, with this in mind, there's a rite of passage that comes from a vision quest, and a new name is found. Knowing what I wanted, a book suddenly appeared written by Sun Bear, a Lakota chief who was running 10-day vision quests in the hills outside of Spokane, Washington. So off I went, July 1993, to my first 10-day vision quest. The first 3 days were to prepare for our 4-day encounter alone in nature's embrace. After this quest, we would spend the final 3 days processing our experience. In the 3 days of preparation, we often met in small groups as our quest teacher helped us refine our intentions for the 4-day quest. At one point, Moon Deer, our eldest leader, looked at me and said, "Stalk snakes naked." I stared at her, puzzled and a little shocked. She shrugged. "I don't know where or why these things come through me, but I have learned to just honor them. All I know is that message is for you." I ended up with 5 intentions, including finding a new name that would fit my passion of life. Finally, my quest day arrived. We were led through a number of wonderful ceremonies and rituals, ending with a sweat lodge, and then we were left to sit in our chosen quest area. This would be our home, our place of solitude for 4 days and 3 nights. On the 3rd day, it came to me that it was time for me to find my new name. How was I to do this? I had no idea. So I decided to sit and meditate and see if a name would emerge. The only thing that emerged, however, was I kept falling asleep. Then all of a sudden, Moon Deer's message popped into my head: "Stalk snakes naked." Well, what the hell? I took off all my clothes, found a ballpoint pen, painted my face like a Native American. I took up a crutch I was still using to support my torn Achilles tendon and began to prowl all over my quest area looking for unseen snakes. I smashed dead branches from limbs. I chanted. I looked under rocks. After about 20 minutes, I felt very powerful and energized. I gingerly sat down on a rock, remember, naked, and began to laugh. How ridiculous I would have looked if someone had wandered into this scene. At that very moment, the name Kurtland popped into my head. Wow, I had no idea what Kurtland meant, but it felt right. Kurt had a nice masculine or yang feel to it, and mother, of course, is the ultimate feminine or yin. What I discovered later was that Kurt is derived from Conrad, meaning brave, wise counselor. Wow. Therefore, Kurtland means brave, wise counselor of the land or the earth. And what is my passion? Eco-psychology, the use of nature as guide and counselor. This is based on the belief that many of our human problems arise because we are no longer connected to earth. I have to tell you that Kurtland is not always an easy name to live up to. It took me 7 years to finally feel that I had evolved enough to legally change it from Lawrence George to Wise Elder Kurtland. I am still far from really feeling comfortable with the responsibility of Kurtland. It will likely remain a work in progress for the rest of my days. Again, I look forward to your comments and questions at our talk about.